Hey hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Sainath and I also welcome you to my Amazon EKS series. And this is the second video of our Amazon EKS series. Now if you are new to this series, you may be thinking what this series is all about. So this series is completely for beginners, and also if you have worked with EKS, it's okay. So in this series, we are starting completely from scratch, understanding what is EKS, why to use EKS, and then how to create EKS both via console and Terraform. And then we will look into the advanced concepts like how to set up autoscaling, monitoring, and many more. So this series is completely for open for beginners, also for professionals. So this is the second video of our series, and before getting started into this video, let's recap what we learned in our previous video. So we started from complete basics. We understood what is EKS, why to use EKS. Then we looked into the demo part of how to create an EKS via console, created access entries for our EKS cluster, then created groups, roles, how to allow users to assume that role, and then we followed by creating policies with following least privileges, and all these things we have done. Creating EKS cluster was in a default VPC, and I would say that was the main drawback of our previous videos. What do I mean by this? Let's dig into it more. So, uh, so let's assume this is our VPC, and inside that VPC, rather default VPC, in which we created our EKS cluster. Inside this, we created our EKS cluster. And when it came to the accessing of this EKS cluster, what we did is we spinned an EC2 instance inside this VPC. And via this EC2 instance, we were able to access our EKS cluster and able to perform the actions, right? Now you look into this, both our EKS and EC2 are in the same VPC. So the request is easily getting routed to other parts of our VPC because request all are in the same VPC. The request which we are sending are never going out of our VPC. So this was the main advantage we are getting. But this is not the good practice, right? Let me give an example. Like in the organizations, there could be some employees who are working remotely. Now you ask yourself this question, how those employees will be accessing your cluster which is inside this private network? Means those remote employees are in their own network, and now how they will be accessing these resources which are inside your this VPC, and this VPC is itself a private network. No one can easily access this VPC without permissions. So the question is how to allow the remote users access to your EKS. So that's where we have something called AWS Client VPN. So I have attached a theory part here. You can look into this, but I will explain it in a simple ways. What's AWS Client VPN is? What it does is simple way. It allows your remote users access the resources inside your VPC securely. It's that simple. If your resources are inside this VPC, which is a private VPC, AWS Client VPN will allow your remote users access these resources securely. That is what AWS Client VPN does in simple meaning. And now we will look into it, what it does, how it does, everything slightly. But let me give a brief overview of what we are looking in this video. So what I have done is I have divided this video in two parts, part 1 and part 2. So in part 1 we will look into the architecture overview of our in complete infrastructure, and then we will set up a VPC, and then we will set up a EKS cluster in that VPC, and then we will set up also a client VPN through which your users, employees from remote location will be able to access that VPN, and from there your request will be going to your VPC and you will be able to access your resources. And everything this part 1 will be happening via console way because I want you to understand the complete foundation thing, fundamental things. That's where why we're doing this all with the console way. And then part 2, everything will be automated. That's what we have part 1 and part 2. And now we have our architecture. But before that, what I want to tell you is that I want you all to first go through this video, that is AWS Client VPN explained. I have told completely here how to create an AWS client VPN, how to create, because in this video I have told how to create uh, certificates, server certificate, client certificate, how to import those certificate to your ACM, everything, and how to connect it from your local. So I want you to watch this video because this is a very helpful to get understanding of this architecture. And also I've created a complete documentation in this GitHub repository. All the links will be provided in the description, so do check that out. So let's understand this architecture now. So we have our AWS cloud, and inside this AWS cloud we have our regions like AP South one, US East one, or any other region of your preference. And inside that we have our VPC, and this is the CID range of our VPC. And inside that VPC we have multiple availability zones, and inside that our resources are spread across. So we have for this demo we have took two availability zones, availability zone A and availability zone B. And inside that each availability zone we have two subnets, public subnet and private subnet. Here also public subnet and private subnet. And as I told that we will create a private EKS cluster, so our both control plane and node groups will stay in this private subnet of both availability zone. And then we have our AWS client VPN. So, to set up a complete AWS client VPN, there are three things to understand. That is network association, authorization rule, and there is security group. And all those three things I've explained in my this video. So I want you to watch this video because it will be really helpful for you to understand the how this VPN is connecting to our VPC, and how the clients from their local are connecting to this VPN, everything. And this is the CID range of our VPN. So from here, remote locations, your employee will be connected to your VPN, and from there, your request will be routed to the associated subnets. And yeah, that's the complete architecture of what we have here. And your EKS will remain in this private subnets. Yes, that's what your architecture is. So now we will start the demo part. So we'll start first from creating our VPC. So search here for VPC and then come to your VPC. Click here create VPC. So VPC and more, give any name, let it be default. And this is the CID range that we are giving. You can change as your preference, but I'll keep it as it is. And then we do not need any IPv6, tenancy default, yes. And then number of availability zone, we need two availability zone as I told in our architecture diagram. And then we need two public subnets, one in uh, two in both availability zones. Means availability zone A will have one public subnet and availability zone B will have one public subnet, and same for private also. And then these are the CID ranges of our subnets. If you want to change, you can, but let's keep it default. And then this is the NAT gateway. We need NAT gateway. Uh, we need NAT gateway regional, not regional, zonal, and that too per one per availability zone. So this is what we need. And do we need a S3? No, we don't need. And keep everything default. And you can look here the architecture of our VPC. So public subnet, private subnet in this availability zone, and public and private in 1B availability zone. And then we have route table, public route table, private route table, two private route tables. And this is IGW, and these are the two NAT gateways for both availability zone. And then create VPC. So this will take a while, like a minute. to get permission. So yes, now our VPC is created. Now let's head towards creating EKS cluster. So come to your EKS Kubernetes service console, and here create cluster, and then we will go into the custom configuration because we are not looking into the auto mode here, and then turn off this auto mode. And I have also explained all this part in our previous videos. You can watch this, but still I'll explain here. And then give any name. Let's give demo EKS, and then cluster IAM role. We will choose this role because I have already created. I have this role, and how to create this role, everything. Watch our previous video. And then cluster access. Yes, we need to give cluster access to our administrator, and then we will choose EKS API, and next, and then here, while choosing the VPC, choose the VPC that you created, and subnets, choose the private subnets because we want our control plane to stay in private subnet. So this is the private, and this is the private. Yes, and then do you want to give additional security groups? No, not now. And then cluster IPv4. Yes, we need IPv4. And then cluster endpoint access. How you want to keep your endpoint? Endpoint means that API server. I want it private. And next, observability. No need anything. Next. So here also add-ons. No need anything. Just click next. And here also no need anything. Simply create next, and then you can overview this and create. So your EKS cluster will be created. So it will take 5 to 8 minutes to provision. So I'll pause the video here and I'll come after once this cluster is in active state. So yes, now our control plane is in active state. Now come to your compute tab, and here add a node group. Node group. Give any name, and then select a role for your node group, and next. And here, of which image type you want your node groups to be, let it be default, and then let it be on demand, and then instance type, let's take T2 medium, T3 medium, cancel this, and disk size let it be 20 and make it 1 1. And I've explained this desired size, minimum size, maximum size in our previous video. And next, so I want our node groups also to be in private subnet. Yes, this is private and this is also private. And next, and then simply create. So again, it will take 5 to 8 minutes to provision your node group. So now our node group is also in active state. Now you can come in this access tab and view who all can access your EKS cluster. So for here we have this user who has EKS cluster admin policy. But now the question is from where this user will access. In previous video, we used an EC2 instance which was in that default VPC only, so he was easily able to access. But now we created our own VPC, and I want this user to access EKS cluster from his local, and his local is nowhere connected to our VPC. And now to set up that connection, we want our VPN. So now let's head towards it to create a VPN. And now come to your VPC dashboard here, and in this left menu scroll down and you will find something called client VPN endpoints. Click this, and now create client VPN. So now let's create a client VPN. So let's keep it standard, give any name, give any description, though it's optional, and then VPC for this VPC, And then security group, this is also optional, let it be. And then endpoint IP address, keep it IPv4. This also IPv4, because everything that we did means that VPC that we set up was based on IPv4 only, so we need to keep IPv4 here also. And then CID range, client CID range. And while giving client CID range, make sure that your VPC CID range and client CID range never overlap with each other. Like here I've given for VPC 10.0.0.16, and for client VPN we have given 192.0.0.0/16. So make sure that they never overlap with each other. And then next, authentication. So server authentication. So we have this server key certificate already. So I've explained this how to create and import this in our that video, this video. So I really want you to watch that video. So we will directly take those certificates, and then this is server certificate, yes. And then we have this use mutual authentication, yes. And then take client certificate. So this is our client certificate. We have this client interface. So just enable this and write a message. So what this message is, when your client will connect to your VPN, you will get this message. And then DNS, no need. Connection protocol, use this split tunnel. This is very much important. Why? Because if you are not using this, every request that you are doing on your browser, that request will be going via this VPN. Then if you use a full tunnel, if you use the split tunnel, only the AWS specific request will be going via this VPN. Then use UDP, okay, 443. And then session, we need for every 8 hours session should be terminated. And then tags, okay, let's keep it default. And then create a client VPN. And now your client VPN will be created. And now, as I told, we had three important things to set up a VPN. One is target network association, another is authorization rule, and another is security groups. So let's first set up a target association. Target association, associate target network, for which let's keep it for private only. For this one, again I've explained this in my that video only, so I'm not explaining here what that is, how, why it is connecting, why we need to do these all things. I've explained those all in my that previous video. And then next, we need to set up an authorization rule, but we will set up it later. Let's first this come in active state. So now let's add the authorization rule also. So come to this authorization rule tab, and here create authorization rule. So for which subnet you want your clients to be access, means we have multiple subnets in this VPC. So we will be giving only to some specific subnets access. Like here we have our control EKS in this both private subnets. So we will give only access to these two private subnets to our clients. So how to do that? Come to your VPC here, and go to this subnet section. So here take the CID ranges of those two private subnet. So this is a private. So take here. So here you will get that CID range. So take this, come back and add this here. And to all users, or if you have any specific user group, you can give that also. You have any description, then give a add authorization rule. So a new authorization rule is created. Here it is. And let's add the other also. This one. Take the CIDR, add authorization rule, Paste that to all users, add authorization rule, and now both authorization rule also added. So again it will also take some minute to come in authorized state. Let's check whether our networks. So this is also not yet in associate active state. So let it come in active state. And once they are in active state, what we will do is go to the security groups. We will take the security group of this VPN and add it to our EKS cluster. Then all three aspects are done, which are network association, authorization rule, and security group. For what you need to do that for security group is come in this details tab, and over here take this security group ID, copy this, go back to your cluster, and over here in networking tab, cluster security group ID, just go here, and here you need to add that security group rule. Edit inbound rules, add a rule for 443, paste that, take, and then save rule. So now you have done all three things. Now let's wait until it come in active state, and once it is in active state we will access it from our local. So yes, now our authorization rules are in also active state. Now let's access our EKS cluster from our local. So come to your terminal. So in this terminal, make sure you have both AWS CLI and kubectl installed. So I have all those installed previously. If you want to check that, you can check AWS version and kubectl. So both are installed in my local system. And also make sure that which user is configured with your local. For that, AWS. So I have this Terraform user configured with my local. But do check that if this Terraform user has access has access to your EKS cluster, or the access entry of this user is created in your EKS cluster. For that, you have this command. Is that so? If you see that here, you will see that user is not here. What else you can do is you can create a configure of this user, or else you can add this user in your EKS cluster. Now what we will do is we will add this user in our EKS cluster. So for that, come to your cluster in access tab, create, and then here I am from user. That username is this, and then I'll keep everything default, and then next, what policy I want to give? I am going to give this view policy, cluster scope, add policy, yes, and next, and then create. So yes, now the user is created. Now let's use this command and see whether he will be able to access this cluster or not. Let's just clear this. Then use this. Just change your regions over here. Our region is 80 South 1, and cluster name as uh, EKS demo. EKS demo, right? Yes, EKS demo, and then hit enter. So yes, a .config file is created at this location. Next, come to your this VPN dashboard over here, and then you need to download this client configuration. So just hit this. A file will be downloaded, and next you need to edit this file. So come here, and then open this with in notepad. And then next here in this file, down here you need to add two things. One is client certificate and another is client key. So for that you need to add this tag cert. So this is the client certificate. Here will client certificate will come, and here client key. Client key will come. Now I already have those things. I will directly copy it from here only. One of my previous demo. Yeah, how you can find this? You can find this from uh, the one you created keys. From there you can copy it. Now how to copy those all I have explained in my previous video. So I am recommending you to watch my previous video first. Then only you will get this all concepts clear. And then save this, remove this, and next you need to connect to your VPN. For that you need to download this AWS Client VPN. So I have this Client VPN downloaded, and then file, come to manage profile, add a profile, give any name, demo VPN, and then this file, the file that we downloaded and edited, and then open and add profile, done. And then next hit connect. Now your local is trying to connect to your VPN, this VPN that we created. See, now it is connected and you got the welcome message that you gave when you were creating that VPN. Welcome to VPN and OK. Just take this here down. And next come to your terminal, and over here you can try to access your cluster. TL get pods. See, he is getting this error because we don't have any pods here. Kubectl get ns namespace. See, he's able to access the namespace and all. And kubectl create pod for iPhone image. So, iPhone create pod. My pod. Yeah, what is that? So this is that command kubectl run my pod iPhone image nginx. We are trying to create a pod, and so he got the error because this user don't has permission to create a pod, create pods. You can explicitly check also. How to check that? Kubectl what can I create pods? He got no because he don't has that permission. Kubectl can I get pods? Yes, because he has that access. And now further fine grained access we can give it via RBAC, IRSA and pod identity. Those all advanced concept we will look into in few future lectures. So yeah, now our demo part is done. You have successfully learned how to create an EKS cluster in a private VPC. The cluster has private endpoints, and you have also created a VPN which allows access to your VPS resources securely from your local system. And yeah, that's it for this demo part. And now let's head towards deleting this infrastructure. And this is very much important because if you mess something over here, you will end up incurring the cost. So now how to delete? Let's start first from our EKS only. So come to your compute section. Let's first delete the node group. Choose this and delete. So it will take some time to get delete your node group, 5 to 8 minutes again. And then once it is deleted, you delete your cluster. So until this node group is deleted, let's delete our VPN. So come to your VPN setup over here, and this network target network association. Choose this, disassociate. So first you need to disassociate it, and then you need to remove the authorization rules. Removed, and then next choose this in action tab. Delete client VPN endpoint. Delete. So as your VPN client is deleted now. Now next we need to delete our EKS control plane, but our node group is still not deleted. Let's wait until it gets deleted. It's still in deleting phase. Let's try whether delete cluster EKS demo delete cluster has a node group attached. So we need to wait until it get deleted. And once our compute is deleted, we will delete our cluster. So yes, now our compute is also deleted. Now let's delete our cluster and hit delete. So it will be deleted. So again it will take 5 to 8 minutes to delete your cluster. Now our cluster is also deleted. Now let's delete the VPC setup. So come to your VPC here, and here to delete a VPC, firstly you need to delete your NAT gateways. So let's come to your NAT gateways. And make sure to follow the way I do, because deleting VPC manually is a bit tricky one. So you need to wait until it gets completely deleted, and then after your NAT gateways are deleted, you need to release your elastic IPs. Come to elastic IPs, and then you are maybe having their elastic IPs. So these are the two IPs, this one and this one. You need to release these both. In action, release elastic IP cannot be released because your NAT gateway is yet not deleted. If the resource is associated with your NAT gateways, something your NAT gateway is telling, because your NAT gateways are not yet deleted. So let it completely delete, and then next you will release this elastic IPs. Now let's release the elastic IP. Just choose this elastic IP, go to action, release elastic IP, release. So now the elastic IPs are released. Now you need to go to your internet gateway. Now here let it be, don't change anything. Come to your direct to VPC and choose your VPC. Come to actions, delete VPC. So will be detected and then delete. and then delete. Now your complete VPC will be deleted. All route tables, elastic, all route tables, and then associations and subnets, everything will be deleted. Just refresh. And yes, now your complete infrastructure is deleted. All the EKS cluster, VPN, VPC, everything is deleted. And yes, guys, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed this video and got all the concepts clear. And if you don't get all the concepts clear, please rewatch this video and also try to watch this video where I've explained the client VPN setup completely in depth. And a complete GitHub repository will be given in the description. Try to follow this GitHub repository as well. And the next part, in part 2, I'll bring the Terraform version of this setup. And stay connected with me, and happy learning.